Welcome to Spectacle on Television Nigeria. I am your host, Daniel Atai. Welcome to Spectacle on Television Nigeria. I am your host, Daniel Atai.
Is the National Consultative Forum, NCF, a dead measure on arrival? And Nigerians advocate for digital voting system. Welcome to Spectacle. I am Daniel Atai. We'll take a short break, and when we come back, I will introduce my guest analyst in the studio. Please stay tuned. Welcome back. We'll begin with the NCF merger story. And I have in the studio the 2019 presidential candidate of the ADP, YY Sani. Welcome to Spectacle, sir.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Danny.
That's good. And on the digital voting system advocacy, I have Engineer Emmanuel Abba, a cyber security expert and e-voting advocate. Welcome to Spectacle.
Thank you very much.
All right. Gentlemen, before I come to you, we'll have to take a background report on both stories. Before then, let's take a background report from Mercy Joe on the NCF story. Please enjoy the video.
The new National Consultative Front, NCF, seemed to have died upon arrival, less than 24 hours after it was introduced to the public. Those identified as its pillars have denied their involvement in the group. This new political forum was meant to be a revolutionary group whose birth would herald reforms that could set a positive trajectory for Nigeria by 2023 election. In a communique issued on Wednesday, 1st July 2020, the group said it had embarked on historic national consultations ahead of its inauguration later in July. The movement boasted of being the counterforce to the current politics of money bags, highest bidders, and the cash and carry hierarchy prevalent under the mercantilist ruling elites in Nigeria. Among those listed as members were Gali Naamba, a former Speaker of the House of Representatives, Olisa Agbakoba, a senior lawyer, Femi Falana, also a prominent lawyer, Obadia Mailafia, ex-deputy governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, and Obi Eze Kwesili. Others are Umar Dangiwa, Jibo Ibrahim, Chidi Odinkalu, Shehu Sani, a former Senator Remi Sonyaya, former presidential candidate Tanko Yunusa, Shatima Yerima, and Funke Awolowo. Most names paraded in the counterforce were known and catchy, if not inevitable. The men and women who will save the nation from the tourists of mystery have come. Some excited Nigerians chorused on social media. But there was another group that kept its legs crossed and jaws closed to monitor what will happen next, as the announcement of a counterforce didn't elicit any surprise. They have seen them coming and going several seasons. By the next morning, Abakoba fired the first salvo, distancing himself from the movement. The renowned lawyer had said he was not consulted. Hours later, Danjua followed suit. Like Abakoba, he also said he was never consulted before his name was included among the promoters of the new movement. The retired army colonel, who was detained for opposing the annulment of the June 12, 1993 presidential election, has been fearless in challenging the powers that be right from then. As though that wasn't enough, Falana said he wasn't consulted too. While he applauded those behind the initiative, he made it clear that he is not among them. Shehu Sani, who also reported to have stated that he was not consulted before his name was included. Based on the current situation, these questions need answers. Who fathered this child? Didn't the communique state that there was a historic nationwide consultation? It even added that it will ensure that mistakes are not repeated and risks can be easily mitigated in the growth and expansion of the new movement. How then will this movement survive? Recall that in the build-up to the 2019 general election, there was the formation of the Third Force movement. Donald Duke, a former governor of Cross River, and Olagunsoye Oyi Lola, former governor of Osun, were some of the prominent members of the group, which had the endorsement of former President Olusegun Obasanjo. At the inauguration of the Oyo State chapter of the movement, Obasanjo told the members to know that in the struggle to redeem Nigeria, they would be threatened. Everybody must be determined to rescue Nigeria. It may not be easy. However, the God who performed wonders some time ago will again perform wonders. In a similar manner, some presidential candidates mold the idea of uniting against the powers that be by producing a consensus candidate for the 2019 election. Among the notable names mentioned then were Fela Durotoye, Kingsley Moghalu, and Omo Yele Sowore. The alliance between Durotoye, Moghalu, and Sowore didn't last the mile. The idea was expanded such that 18 presidential hopefuls came together under presidential aspirants coming to make pacts in form of alliance. But just as election was about to be conducted to decide the consensus candidate, Sowore pulled out, saying he was never a part of the coalition. After the exit of Sowore, more candidates pulled out, but the election still held, and Durotoye emerged the winner. But hours after the exercise that produced Durotoye, Moghalu, who was part of the exercise, rejected the outcome and announced that his presidential ambition was still on course. The coalition collapsed before the general election. Taking a cursory look at the communique issued on Wednesday by this NCF, the promoters of the new political movement made it clear that the initiative is expected to transform fully into a mega political party by June 2021. But given current happenings, it is pertinent to ask if this new movement will survive and deliver its mandate of creating a new Nigeria that works for all, or it will be abandoned like a stone at the bottom of a lake.
Welcome back. That was actually the NCF report we got before now. And of course, we have the presidential candidate of the ADP, like I said, YY Sani, will be doing justice to that. And then later on, we'll come to give you the advocacy for electronic voting in the country. Your Excellency, sir. You're welcome again to
Thank you very much.
Television Nigerian.
Thank you for having me.
Now, we want to ask about the major group called the National Consultative Forum. Is it, first of all, a political party measure right now? Or because people are already saying it's going to be a political party. You tell us first, or if you know anything about it.
Yeah, well, first of all, let me say that NCF, like it says, the name, is a National Consultative Forum.
Okay.
It's not a political party yet.
Okay.
It is a movement. And the movement is supposed to galvanize Nigerians that have concern for what is happening in this country today. So that we can begin to consult each other, discuss, analyze, chart a way forward for this country. So it should not be mistaken to be a political party as it is now. If you even look at the collection of people, majority of them are activists.
Okay.
I mean, they are not associated with any political party per se. Most of the names that you mentioned, in terms of the actual, practical politics, in this country. So these are people that largely are from various backgrounds, professionals, in their own rights.
Okay.
And of course, when you have professionals coming into politics, not professional politicians now I'm talking about, then of course you are bound to have divergent views. The only meeting point will be, how do we rescue this country from the precipice? And that's why I'm not surprised when you hear that some people are saying, "Oh, I wasn't consulted before my name went out," or something like that. I take it as one of those, teething problems that you have in anything that you want to do.
Okay.
And especially if it is political, and like I told you, these are professionals, and professionals have an impression about politics to be something that is dangerous.
Okay.
Some even say it's a dirty game. So people are always worried when you mention the names, in politics. So I think that's what I can gather, that is responsible for some of them coming out and say, "No, don't mention me yet," or something like that. It's not that they are disagreeing with the idea of coming together to rescue this country from the precipice, like I've said. We have seen what is happening in this country, isn't it? We have seen the hopelessness that Nigerians have been subjected to in terms of insecurity, economic retrogression, corruption itself, governance itself, and then you can see the poverty that is so endemic all over the place.
Mr. Wawaisani, while you might be correct to some extent, I think everything has a start, isn't it? Would you blame, for instance, this administration of President Muhammadu Buhari, comparing to the previous ones, that it has become endemic under him?
Well, I don't understand exactly what you are saying.
Endemic in what sense? You made a statement that
poverty being endemic?
Yeah, poverty, corruption, and so on, and that compared to the previous administration. Like I said, we have a starting point for everything. If you want to achieve, for instance, success, there is a place you start with your blueprint. Now, if you compare this administration from the past 20 years, could you say that the corruption, the abject poverty, what you mentioned just now, are endemic or on the rise in this administration?
Yeah, you see, you must not lose, the essence. And why did people vote for President Buhari in the first instance? Why did they vote for him?
Okay.
It's because PDP, for 16 years, swindled Nigerians.
Good.
Corruption was endemic. Government at that time also has no direction. And that's why some people came together to say, well, we need to have a change. Anybody but Jonathan at that point in time. So the reason why people voted for Buhari was because they wanted a true emancipation of this country from interrogation that was happening. Yes,
Okay.
to arrest that situation that we had of corruption, lack of direction, insecurity, and what have you. So when the thing now becomes like from frying pan to fire.
Does it look like frying pan to fire
Exactly,
now?
because before you had only the case of Boko Haram, which was the popular issue we had at that time. Now you have added to it so many other things like banditry, kidnapping, what have you. So what I'm saying is that yes, Nigerians have the right to say that we have failed, this government has failed, because indeed it has failed. And it's good that some people are coming together today to tell the government that, hey, you have to wake up and do something about this. Because don't think that nobody knows what is happening. Like I've said before, the alternative is something that I don't think anybody wants to think about. Because when you have a situation where Nigerians completely lose hope in the government, then there's nothing as dangerous as a citizen that believes that it doesn't have any stake more in the system. He's a dangerous person because he's ready to do anything. So we don't want it to get to that stage. That's why some of us have come together.
Is there any area you could actually see an improvement from the previous in comparison to the previous administrations of this President Muhammadu Buhari? Any area you can actually appraise that, yes?
Well, the only thing I can say is that we are still at it. Nigeria is still one nation, isn't it? So I give him kudos for that he has kept us one to get, people are saying we're going to, nobody, we are not yet at war, and civil war, anything. You don't see people doing all sorts of things that you see in other countries, yet in the manner that, you will say that we have lost it. That's why I said this group coming together is like a savior, for this country, for the government, because I personally, I'm talking about my own personal opinion, I believe that President Buhari has what it takes, really to solve the problems of this country. Do you know why I say so?
No.
His background, from the military background, he should know how to solve the insecurity problem, which is the bane of all our other economic problems and what have you. Because he's a person that people believe in as an individual. People believe in him as an incorrigible, somebody that has no stint, as far as corruption is concerned, as a person. So people believe in Buhari as a human being. So he can command that respect and bring together the experts that can solve even the economic problems, the social problems we're talking about. He has that personality, apart from his calling, which is the military background. That's why I, as an individual, still believe that he needed to be propped up. Somebody should tell him, he should wake up. He should jettison whatever it is that is holding him back, that has caged in, and then use what we believe he has to solve these problems.
Okay.
So this is why I am saying that the difference between what you had before and what you have now is that you have a situation before at that time that everybody, we came out to say, let's vote for Buhari so we can have a change. Unfortunately, that change is not taking place yet. And time is no longer on our side, on his side, as the case is. So Nigerians are becoming more and more desolate.
Okay, so that is why this NCF right now,
Yes.
Of course, President Muhammad Buhari won't contest for the presidency by 2023 anymore.
But he has a legacy to leave.
He has a legacy to leave.
Yes.
However, this NCF, already you have seen several denials from members that were acclaimed or alleged to have formed the NCF. They are backing out. Do you think it is going to be the usual? You saw that also, right?
No.
You also saw that of Obasanjo in the report and so on. So, do you think that these persons have that pedigree to a kind of emancipate the country when eventually they register it as a party?
No. You see, that's why I'm telling you. You see, like Action Democratic Party, which I chair, we're in it because what?
Your ADP.
Yes, Action Democratic Party.
Yes, you are the presidential candidate.
Yes. I'm also the national chairman.
And you want to merge with them too?
No, it's not merging. You know, I don't know why you are saying merging.
Okay.
It's a consultative forum. It's where you go and consult. You dissect what is happening in the country. You share your opinions. You now analyze and come up with solution to the problems that are happening in this country.
And now that they have denied publicly, what will you say?
No. What has happened is that, you see, there was misinformation. You know, it's a misinformation because none of them has disagreed with the idea of coming together to solve the problem of this country. I participated in 2 meetings before that announcement, you know, and most of the people you are talking about were at that meeting. Majority of them were there. They made contributions in that meeting via Zoom. So for them to come out to say they are not part of it, I'm telling you, it just
that they were not consulted.
Yeah, exactly. No, it's a consulted forum, so you can't say they are not consulted. You know, mention any one of them. They were all consulted. What is happening is that what I think they are not disagreeing with the thing, the idea of what we are coming together. What they are disagreeing with is perhaps the strategy, how we want to go, or want to achieve what we want to achieve. A strategy is something that you build, you know, over time, isn't it? You come together and then discuss that. Okay, this is how we are going to go about it. This is what we are going to do. So this is why I believe that NCF is still a valid and a relevant, you know, really rallying point for patriotic citizens of this country, Nigeria, to come together, because we need forums like that. You need people to start talking. Don't allow people to keep quiet and allow things to degenerate to the point that nobody can really solve the problem anymore. So what I was told, you know, is that this is a consultative forum. They want us to come together as individuals, contribute our ideas, chart a course that will rescue this country from the imminent precipice, so that Nigerians will not lose complete hope completely in the future of this country, which is great, like you know. You know, we have everything that you want to talk about that can make this country great. You know, if it is population, we have it. If it is resources, we have it. If it is size of the country itself, we have it. So the issue now is leadership. And leadership,
now, let me cut you in. For instance, you are talking about leadership.
Yes.
And you need a political party to be able to come to power.
Yes.
Is the NCF planning to become a registered political party in 2021, like it is said in that report?
No. What I think NCF will do is that, you see, they will serve as the rallying point, as the forum that will promote a political party like Action Democratic Party that has our mantra, like you know, is credible alternative, isn't it? So their essence of coming together, they have lost hope in APC and PDP and all the other parties that you can talk about. So they want to now give Nigerians a true, credible political party that has the interests of this country at heart and can really give this country the kind of leadership that it deserves. So, and you cannot do that. You can't do that with the failed politicians that we have in this country. They can't give you anything anymore. They are out of ideas. They can't give you anything different from what they have been giving to us since 1999, when you know the political activities were allowed to take place. So we need to go away from the establishment. We need to go away from what has been happening in terms of PDP that swindles us for 16 years, in terms of ADP in terms of APC that has no direction, that is on a roller coaster. We don't know where we're going to end. So this is why you need a credible platform like Action Democratic Party, and then such parties cannot take track unless you have groups like this coming together, discussing, and then giving directions as to what will happen.
Mr. Wawaisani,
yes.
When you want to talk about Action Democratic Party, come to TVN, come and pay the advertorial. We will now shoot you to the wall. Right now you are a panelist, you are an analyst here.
Okay.
So now, you will not talk about your party.
Okay.
Now, do you think this forum, for instance, that you guys are forming, or they are forming, have the propensity of knocking off PDP and APC from power come 2023?
Like as I'm sure you have seen already, both APC and PDP, They're already on.
I know you are itching to speak, but you are here on digital.
Yeah, they're already.
I will allow you to speak.
Yes, there are already parties that, if you like, the parlance today is that they are infected by corona something, COVID-19, has infested those particular parties. They are crumbling already. It's just that we are waiting for the time for them to completely take their exit, from the political scene, because it's true, and you can see. Can't you see what the build up to Edo State, elections? What is happening in APC and also in PDP? The kind of impunity that was exhibited, the kind of money that we had was changing hands, so people do not matter as far as they are concerned. It's about how much money are you bringing to the table, how much are you going to pay, for us to give you, the ticket to run on our platform. That is not the politics we want to encourage, in this country. And that's the kind of politics that NCF wants to, ensure that it doesn't happen again that way in this country, because it can't take us anywhere, like we have seen. We've been in a visual cycle, we've been going, everything has been retrogressing. We are the capital, we are the poverty capital of the world today. We are the third most terrorized country in the world. We have one of the largest number of IP. And
you think that is a problem of a political party?
It is. How do you get leadership? Recruitment of leadership is through a political party, and if you have a corrupt system of recruiting your leadership, your leaders are going to be corrupt. So this is
what
the problem.
What about other systems like the electoral reform system and so on? You have the judicial. Talking about democratic institutions, are they not part of the problem? You are saying
because
party, but we will come to that.
Because the key element.
I will introduce the nexus between digital voting and why Nigeria should adopt it, and then we'll continue the analysis. We'll take a short break with the report on the advocacy for electronic voting in Nigeria, and after that, the engineer in the studio is cybersecurity expert and also an advocate of e-voting. Will begin to do justice to that topic. Please stay tuned.
Democratic voting is a crucial and serious event in any country. The most common way in which a country votes is through a paper-based system. But is it not time to bring voting into the 21st century of modern technology? Digital voting is the use of electronic devices such as voting machines or an internet browser to cast votes. These are sometimes referred to as e-voting when voting using a machine in a polling station, and i-voting when using a web browser. Security of digital voting is always the biggest concern when considering to implement a digital voting system. With such monumental decisions at stake, there can be no doubt about the system's ability to secure data and defend against potential attacks. One way the security issues can be potentially solved is through the technology of blockchains. Blockchain technology originates from the underlying architectural design of the cryptocurrency Bitcoin. It is a form of distributed database where records take the form of transactions. A block is a collection of these transactions. With the use of blockchains, a secure and robust system for digital voting can be devised. So, solving the issues of electoral malpractices, the advent of pandemic against social gatherings, the vote buying, etc., could be resolved by the uses of digital voting system in Nigeria.
Welcome back. Whether we are ripe for electronic voting or not, the world has gone very technological, and it is expected that Nigeria, as the giant of Africa, follows suit to, of course, do away with the issues of electoral malpractices, social gathering like this that could cause disease infections and so on. So we have an expert in the studio who will be dealing with that particular subject. And perhaps while Sani will talk about electronic voting too. Mr. Emmanuel Laba, welcome to Spectacle.
Thank you very much.
Now, we are advocating, especially yourself, for electronic voting. Is there a nexus between party politics and electronic voting?
Okay, thank you very much for that very interesting question.
Yeah.
I had a first-hand experience in participating in election.
Okay.
So I am certainly in a position to tell you what it is,
Okay.
the differences.
Okay.
The need for e-voting right now in Nigeria cannot be overemphasized.
Okay.
Ranging from the violence in each election year, the court cases that follows after elections in each election year, which in turn distract politicians in public offices, distract them from their supposed duties and all that. Then the way arms and ammunition exchange hands in each election year in this country, and after which it generates to what they use to for kidnappings and banditries and all forms of violence that harms the people that are supposed to be governed. Now, let's talk about the financial implication of manual voting.
Okay.
The voting we've been practicing since 1959, 61 years today.
1959.